Good afternoon, everybody. It is September 19th, 2 o'clock, and we're going to call to order the meeting of the Landbank Committee. I do have a presentation to put up on the screen. That will show our agenda. But first I will call the roll of our attendees, our voting members. Mr. Orzak? Here. Chief Oliver?
Here.
Commissioner Pajali?
Here.
Mr. Holliday?
Here.
Mr. Heil?
Here.
Okay. And we do have an introduction. Since the last meeting, we have a new hire, which I believe that everybody on the panel has met, but we do have a Chief Neighborhood Development Officer. Her name is Colleen Gilson, and she will be discussing some of our program strategies later on. But before that, we'll do a quick review of the meeting minutes that were in your agenda packets. This was the meeting minutes of July 18th of 2022. If anybody wants to review these or discuss these, we could do that at this time. Or we could move to approve. If there's no discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
I will call the roll then on that motion to approve the minutes. Mr. Orzak?
Yes.
Chief Oliver?
Yes.
Commissioner Pajali?
Yes.
Mr. Holliday?
Yes.
Mr. Heil?
Yes.
Okay, those meeting minutes are approved. And then next we will introduce Chief Neighborhood Development Officer Colleen Gilson.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just a couple quick program status updates. First and foremost, it's a pleasure to be here, and I do want to acknowledge the amazing work and partnership that Debbie has provided to me in my first 6 weeks here, and really helping me to understand the land bank program that you operate here in the city of Sandusky, or we should say we operate here in the city of Sandusky. Have a little bit of experience with land banking from the work that I did in the city of Cleveland before joining the city of Sandusky. In reviewing the program, there are a lot, as you know, there's a lot in the inventory, and one of the things that Debbie and I are doing is clustering and looking for development opportunities where perhaps we could package to a development company or a developer to do new construction versus selling single one-offs. There is a place for that, and certainly within this inventory, but at first we'd like to look at those development opportunities and perhaps do a request for proposals for a real estate listing agent to be able to sell those properties. Again, there is a place for one-off development, and we certainly have seen interest in that, but we want to focus on development opportunities first to be able to get these properties off the city's books and into productive reuse and productive hands. We are actually not within the land bank releasing an RFP for brokerage services for some property on Market Street. We'll do that later this week, and we've left it in a status or in a place where we could potentially use that broker for some land bank lots in the future. We are also going to take a deeper look and re-engage with residents that may have lots on the side of their existing homes for side yard expansion through the Mow-to-Own program, all which Debbie and I will be taking a look at over the next month or so. I know it's a priority of our commission, it's a priority of our leadership to dispose of these properties, and we want to do it in a thoughtful manner that, again, returns these properties into productive use within the city. Any questions on that strategy? Any concerns? We also will be taking a look at the pricing structure. As you know, Ohio Revised Code does set that these properties need to be or must be sold at fair market value. There are other cities, there are other municipalities that have changed pricing structures, and we are looking into how they did that so that these properties are a little more affordable to those that are looking to build or those that are looking to expand their side yards. We have found that there have been applicants that have expressed they could not afford what the fair market value was listed by on the appraiser's site. And in some cases, they've expressed that they've been caring for those lots. So we want to come to a happy medium if we can, looking at a pricing structure and maybe following suit from some other municipalities. I met with our law director last week and had this conversation. He's agreed to have staff take a look at that for us, and we would come back and make a recommendation for potentially a new pricing structure. Question.
The lots have to be sold? You have to sell them, you just can't say we get a developer to come in, throw in 10 lots as our part of the deal at no cost?
It's my understanding they need, in the Ohio Revised Code, it lists them that they have to be sold at fair market value.
Okay.
It's a great question. What is fair market value?
So I can expand on that a little bit if that's okay. So the Ohio Revised Code says that any sale that city land banks do have to comply with a fair market value. Now, that fair market value is usually set by appraisal. I think the Ohio Revised Code actually says that so long as the appraised value, fair market value means the appraised value. So obviously if an appraisal comes in lower than like the auditor's valuation, we could use that. There's some flexibility, but it is limited. And because of the way we've set up our land bank, we've specifically adopted both in our land bank ordinance and our land bank policies and procedures. Actually, our land bank policies and procedures specifically mention this requirement and say that we shall only dispose of property when by sale through fair market value. And one of the ways we do the mo to own is that the sweat equity is enough to reach the fair market value of the property. But yes, it is a bit, it does limit some of our options. And so we've been, my department's been asked to like start looking for ways to perhaps work around this and or revise any of our authorizing legislation, or make recommendations for potential changes that could give us some more flexibility.
Yeah, I know when I was with the county, if somebody would come in below 50% of the fair market value, then it would go to the board and they'd make a decision on what they wanted to sell it for. So but I think they got a little more flexibility with
They
that,
do.
with that legislation.
Yeah, it's a different section of the Ohio Revised Code for county land banks than city land banks, and the city land bank authorizing law from the state is more restrictive, which is unfortunate. But I mean, we also are a charter municipality, so we're going to look into some options.
Thank you, Brian. Any other questions? Any comments? Wonderful.
I think it sounds like a good idea. At least research it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And then just the last thing, I'll touch on it, and then Debbie, if you wanted to close it out. Did want to mention again, or remind everyone that the Coal Creek lots have been sold, and we are working or keeping in close contact with Pearprin Development Company that will be developing the lots that have been sold to them. I think it was my first week on the job. I did go to a daytime meeting that they held for residents to talk about their ideas, to show some elevations, and we've encouraged them strongly, and we'll be doing so again this week, to hold an evening meeting to capture those folks that work during the day and weren't able to be there. And certainly keep on top of this development and make sure it's top-notch, since it is land that the city of Sandusky sold to them.
And just to clarify, just so that we don't cause any concern or confusion among anyone, it's the single-family lots that we've sold, and the city continues to own 4 properties that are zoned multifamily. And before there's any disposition of those lots, we'll be certainly talking with the residents and ultimately needing approval by city commission to sell those particular parcels. So we do continue to own the larger 4 multifamily properties there at Cold Creek.
Thank you.
Was there any time frame on that was built into the sale of those lots where they had to develop them within a certain amount of time?
Yes, there was. It's 4 years.
4 years, okay. I just wondered with the way the economy's going and the interest rates, if it might be tough getting to those real quick. Yeah.
That might be the case, but there already is a really great amount of development that's underway out there. I want to say the last count I heard was like at least 8 houses. So of the I believe it was 42 single-family lots that we sold. Quite a few are already under construction. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what that pace looks like going forward.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I do want to, I guess, build on that Coal Creek just for a brief, quick second. The city, along with Hody Enterprises, did sell 16 of those lots, and as Mr. Holliday did mention, that at least 8 of those are almost complete, and I believe there might be even more of those that are in progress. So those are really on their way, and they won't need that 4 years. Paraprin, however, they have not broken ground yet, but I believe once they start, they're going to really fly through them. So we're excited about that. Okay, so is there any other old business that anybody wanted to discuss before I jump into new business? Okay. We do have one agenda or one sale of property, and that is for 823 North Depot Street. So let me scroll down here to that item here. So this is a mow-to-own request for parcel number 58-01812. This is Scott Turna and Michelle Smith. They own the property next door at 827, I believe it is, North Depot. And they're requesting this is an investment property. Now, the picture here is their investment property. And the reason that I showed this picture, and it does look a little blurry, but I showed this because they are investors in the city. They own 5 properties in the city, all of which they have made improvements on. They've kept up with their rental registrations, property taxes. But this one particular, they have used the beautification program with that front porch area, the paint, a couple of windows were placed. But they did ask for that parcel there next door for their renters to utilize for side yard expansion. I do want to note that the property next door at 817 was notified. They were sent 2 certified letters with no response back. In the letter, it was proposed that they would be offered half of this lot with Scott Turna and Michelle Smith. And as I said, they did not reply to that or fill out an application. Let's see. I guess the other information that I want to say is that the size is 44 by 99, which does fit into the mow-to-own guidelines, which is smaller than 40 by 125. It has been vacant for a number of years. We did just acquire this back, though, I believe this year from Erie County Landbank. Let's see. They would put in a $931 earnest money deposit, and that would take care of any expenses to the property. And then the remaining balance would be paid for in 4 years of maintenance on the property, keeping it in a nuisance-free condition. Now, should they put more money towards the property, that would take off the number of years that they would have to maintain it. And I believe that they might want to do that. It would be required that they would combine the property, and then the conditions of the sale would be approval through this body to recommend to City Commission, and then, of course, City Commission approval, and then the fully executed purchase agreement with the conditions of the agreement. So at this time, it's requested that the Land Bank Committee make motion for recommendation or denial of this application. If approved, the request will go to the City Commission with a purchase and sale agreement.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the sale of the property at 823 North Depot through the Mo-to-Own program.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Does anybody else have any comments or discussion?
The only comment I had was the beautification money, that's eligible to homeowners and investment property owners?
Yes, yes. The only way it's not is if it's through the purchase. We do have grant money for people that want to purchase property. So if they want to purchase, they have to occupy the property for 3 years. So if they want to buy a property, it's to encourage people to live in the city.
Do you know I know you probably don't off the top of your head, but the percentage of those who receive the money, homeowners versus investment property owners?
I don't off the top of my head, but I would be glad to get that for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other comments or concerns?
And this is the whole parcel outlined in yellow, right?
It would be, yes. It does look like, if I scroll back up, I guess, it does look kind of wide there, but yeah.
And I'm guessing our current setbacks would make building on this more difficult than it was probably when these houses were put in.
That's a good question. I don't know what the setback requirements would have been when the surrounding houses were built.
Yeah, because it's 44 by 99.
Typically having access to an alley, from a practical standpoint, can allow for development on smaller lots.
Oh, okay, I see, yeah.
Okay, I will take roll on the motion then. Mr. Orzak?
Yes.
Chief Oliver?
Yes.
Commissioner Bajali?
Yes.
Mr. Holliday?
Yes.
Mr. Heil?
Sure, yes.
Okay,
So I guess my hesitation is only like, I'm a little sad when we can't find a way to like put infill on some of these bigger, like, I think 40 by 125 is a pretty big side yard. And so I'd rather get more, more development than just a side yard, but I do appreciate they're spending money on the other place.
Is there anything in the agreement that says they can't spin that off if somebody does want to come and build on it?
well, the agreement would require them to combine it with their current parcel, so with this Mo-to-Own,
Okay, so.
yeah.
So no, yeah. in
So,
essence, yeah.
and the Mo-to-Own program does list that anything under 40 by 125 is eligible, which was created back in, I
Yeah.
believe, 2015. It was created a while back. That's another program that we might want to
Right.
revisit.
I mean, they look like they do a nice job on the property.
Absolutely, yeah.
And yeah, it looks like it's well maintained, that lot, so.
Okay, well, I will draft up that purchase agreement, and we will go before City Commission for approval. Next on the agenda then will be acquisitions. I have not put through any acquisitions, I believe, since April, but we've been kind of scattered with our meetings as well. So we did identify 12 different properties. We have 5 vacant residential structures, 4 of which are condemned. And then we have 7 parcels of vacant land that I believe most of them, if not all, are in tax foreclosure. So I do have the list marked as Exhibit A that will go with the commission communication that lists, I guess, the information on each parcel. But I think for this meeting, it might be easier to look at the pictures. So this is a condemned structure. 57-04449-000, 736 East Park Street. This is listed on our condemned properties listing. It is verified as vacant, so we can acquire this property if it comes up through any means that we are able to acquire it. Basically, we would probably acquire it through the landowner, which is 5 Properties Investments. It does appear that they're delinquent in their taxes, so we could offer to acquire this property in lieu of foreclosure. And actually, the next property is the same owner, and they are also tax delinquent. And this is a condemned structure as well at 521 Perry Street, 56-01076.000. Condemned property through our code compliance office. So these 2 properties, if acquired, will be evaluated for rehabilitation. And if there is no viable plan identified, they will be demolished. One of them is, I believe, slated to be demolished anyway, 521 Perry Street. Acquire the property will be demolished and the land marketed for redevelopment or utilized for public purpose. So this one is slated for demolition through our code compliance office. Next, we have 407 Finch Street. This one is in tax delinquency, so it is in foreclosure status. And then if this one is acquired, it would be evaluated for rehab. If no viable plan is identified, it will be demolished. 1817 Pierce Street. If acquired, it will be evaluated as well. If no viable plan, it will be demolished.
Is this one also tax foreclosure?
This one, 1817, is delinquent in taxes, $3,212.59.
But has the foreclosure process started on these properties?
I believe 1607 Central it has, for sure. I believe that's how I found it. Yeah. Or, I'm sorry, 1817 is what we were speaking of. Yes, with $3,212.59. And then the next one, 1607, this, I did find this one through the foreclosure process. Currently in tax foreclosure. This one is on Central. We would evaluate this for rehab. If no viable plan is identified, it would be demolished. We would hope that we would find a viable person to rehab that. And then the next several are just vacant lots. And I apologize, you're going to get my window here, my car window. But we have 1718 Harrison Street. So I'm going to give you lot dimensions on these. So 30 by 130 is 1718 Harrison Street. And these are all in tax foreclosure. So that's how I found these properties. 222 Decatur Street.
Is there a driveway across that?
I'm sorry. The Decatur.
Yeah.
This, okay, so this is actually, if you're looking where my cursor is, that's the BP station on
Yeah.
Washington. So that might be the driveway outside, or on the back side of the BP, maybe, possibly?
Because it looks
Or
like
it's a
on the
driveway to
parcel-
that house right there,
Yeah.
possibly.
You go to that house.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the driveway to that back house.
Oh, wow, I wonder.
But there was a demolition right here, so that's probably what caused the foreclosure, is the assessment on the property.
Do we check for easements and stuff before we get these? Because I'm wondering how that driveway is across this parcel. If you go to the next slide, you can see it pretty clearly.
Oops, sorry. Let's just go this way.
Not saying we shouldn't get it, I'm curious. See how on the parcel viewer, the yellow?
Oh, okay, yeah.
If that's accurate, right?
Someone might have just put a driveway there. I mean, like that.
No, I think that's been there for a long time, but I'm
Yeah.
saying if the county.
Oh, right, yeah. Sometimes they're not.
they
Yeah,
go a
you're
little-
absolutely right, yeah. Yeah, it could be
Yeah.
a lot of things.
But it's worth checking out.
Yeah, we should probably,
Yeah.
when we get that one, we should
Agreed.
check that one a little bit,
Agreed.
if we get that one.
I think I could do that before we even take it to.
Or we get to inform someone that we now own their driveway.
Closing it off.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Huntington Ave, this land is 36 by 120, sits between two houses.
Do you know what that structure is there?
Yeah, what's that?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what that is?
Not real sure.
Okay. Oh, it shows up on the Google thing, too.
Yeah.
That's,
I could take a ride back out there.
Didion's property. I would think they'd come in and pay the taxes before it went all the way through the process.
Well,
Is that a local-
yeah, and just because we're asking for these
Yeah.
doesn't mean that they won't,
Right.
follow
They'll come in
through,
and pay.
pay for them. Yeah, or they could get bid on through the sheriff's sale.
Yeah.
Like all of these structures may get bid on if they go through foreclosure.
Yeah.
So we rarely get structures. Putnam Street, this lot is 33 by 125. 6th Street is actually, I believe, like on Farwell. Let me see what street that was. Yeah, this is actually on Farwell, but it's identified as 6th Street on the auditor's website.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Is that little dead end?
if you look here, it's actually on Farwell.
Yeah.
923 Ogons, we did just demolish here. This is a nice size lot, 53 by 99.
Is it both in tax delinquency and also we have a demo lien?
This one is way far in tax delinquency before our demo lien. So
Okay.
if there is going to be a demo lien, I'm not even sure, but it's 10,000 in delinquency already.
Oh, right. Oh, did we maybe not demo this ourselves, but like with partnership?
It was in partnership, either with the health department or the land bank.
Oh, so we don't necessarily have a demo lien on it? Okay, all right.
I think this one was an estate and it just went for a very long time without being paid.
Got it.
Yeah. And, with the nuisance, with us cutting it.
Sure.
The nuisance bills, sewer bills, water bills, if it hasn't been shut off.
So we have a lot of.
There was, I heard that there was somebody still living there without being allowed to be living there.
Wow. Just such a big parcel.
13 Reese, looks like a smaller lot, but it's 55 by 66 here. This was a recent demolition as well. I believe there was a fire there at one time, and this just came down this year. So those are the parcels that I will be requesting, not saying that we would ever get any of them, but we do need permission before they go, before they're advertised, so that we could get them if they're not bid on at sheriff's sale.
So the process would be that we would indicate to the prosecutor's office that we would like these properties?
So the process would be that whole spreadsheet, or I could take some off of there if we're questionable about any of those. We could take some off of there, but that whole spreadsheet would go into a resolution to be approved by city commission. And then that resolution and anything on it would go to the prosecutor's office, saying that we have approval for these parcels. And if they are advertised, it would be advertised as such, that if there's no winning bid, that the city would be the winning bidder.
And do we have a process for rehabilitation? When we say if acquired, it will be evaluated for rehabilitation, do we have a process to do rehabilitation?
We, as far as if it can be rehabilitated or how to.
Well, yeah.
How to. We do an RFP, so we send out for any qualified people to rehabilitate. I've been through 2 of these processes, but I know that there have been many throughout the years here at the city, but I've been through 2 of them. One was 1216 Central, and the other is currently going on at 423, I believe, Fulton Street.
So they
So,
would contract with the city to do the rehabilitation,
We
and
would-
then
we
we
would
would
put it-
sell it afterwards?
yeah, we would advertise in the paper for anybody willing to rehabilitate this property. Are you qualified? Do you have the financial means? What's your time frame? What's your scope? The project. And if it fits within what we think, they get to walk through the property. And if it fits with what we feel would be a good rehabilitation of the property, there's people that score their proposals. We deed the property to that person. We give them a time frame, and they have a detailed scope of what they have to follow and what they have to do to the property in a time frame. And if they don't do so, then we take the property back. But
You deed it to them.
we deed it to them immediately so that they can get their permits and they can get everything they need to do
And
the property they need to.
Do we have any oversight as this rehab's going on, or do we just come in at the end?
Well,
of it?
we can monitor with the property owner or with the awarded
Yeah.
person, so to speak. But we can monitor with them. We can go through the building department with their permits. The building inspector will be in contact with them throughout the process. Yeah.
They have to be owner occupied too, and they have to live there for a certain amount of time. I don't remember what it was. It's like 3 years or 5 years or something like that.
If not, then you go back after the deed.
Yeah, I was thinking about that big property on the corner of Homestead and Columbus that I think had a couple of different people come in and try to rehab it.
Yeah, we had one and it went bad.
They ended up tearing it down.
Yeah. They didn't have the financial means at the end of the day to get it done properly. They ran into a lot of sewer and those type of issues. I know there was one on Milan Road that I remember that's just south of the underpass that got rehabilitated, and they did a pretty good job on that one. There was one on Center Street that the gal rehabbed. That was when Julie Farrar was here, some friend of hers or whatever, but there's been some successful ones that have taken place.
Yeah, I would think the key would be is the person who the property is deeded to, do they have the ability to rehab the property, or do they just think they have the ability?
Yeah, they have to come.
It'd be a nightmare.
They have to come in and submit, what they think is going to cost them, the financial means to do it, and then generally there's been a couple different people, that submit RFPs, and then we would score them and follow up. And I think Debbie might have done a couple where we make sure that they have the financial means to do it. So there's a process for that.
Okay, so is there anything on that list that anyone thinks is questionable? I can certainly wait to put this through City Commission to check on that one easement, or take that one off the list. I do believe that I would need approval through this body, though, to put this through to City Commission.
Yeah, I would move to approve the list as presented.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion of it? Okay.
I think there's a couple of the structures, specifically Park Street and Central Ave, it looks like they're key to the different portions of the city. It'd be nice to see them rehabilitated, and the one on Park Street's going to need a lot of work, but.
Yeah.
Park Street will need a lot of work, and we are, interestingly, as Debbie pointed out, Park Street and Pier are both owned by the same owner, which in turn then own about 18 other properties in the city of Sandusky, and we're attempting to make contact with the company to see if they have an interest in selling their properties or deeding them for foreclosure to the city.
Okay, I'm going to go through the roll then for the approval of the list. Mr. Orzak?
Yes.
Chief Oliver?
Yes.
Commissioner Pajali?
Yes.
Mr. Holliday?
Yes.
Mr. Heil?
Yes.
Okay. I will submit that. I'll check on this easement for sure for Decatur, but I'll submit that for City Commission, and I will do that through this next commission meeting. The next meeting will be October 17th, if necessary. I always hope that we have applications, so we'll hope that we'll keep this meeting, but if we don't, I will tell you, hopefully a week ahead of time. Does anybody have anything else they want to go over today?
The only other comment I would make is, do we invite the county land bank staff?
You know, that was mentioned in another meeting. I think Mr. Holliday, asked me to do that before, and I don't think I did that in this one.
Yeah, I don't know if.
I didn't.
If they'll come.
Absolutely did
but,
not.
It's-
I think I
it's
invited
worth
them
it.
back in April, and then we didn't have a meeting, and then we had a meeting in July, and I don't believe it.
Well, yeah, maybe in the future you could add them to.
Absolutely, absolutely. I need to put them on my, I have a email group, so I need to put them right on there. So, great suggestion. Okay, if there's nothing else, we can adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.